You know, in a world that's so different and so diverse, you have all these pressures to be these things you may not want to be. Break away from it if that's what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you always come back to who you are at your core. You end up doing things because it's who you are, not because someone else has forced you to do it. And if that's the case, it doesn't last long.
ขอบคุณแอนมากนะครับที่สละเวลามาร่วมรายการกับเรานะครับพวกเราตื่นเต้นกันมากเพราะว่าตอนที่แอนไปประกวดพวกเราก็เป็นกองเชียร์ที่สนับสนุนอย่างเต็มที่นะครับดังนั้นวันนี้เนี่ยดีใจมากที่ได้คุยด้วยแต่ก็เสียดายที่ไม่ได้นั่งในห้องเดียวกันนะครับน่าเสียดายมากเพราะว่าไม่อยากแบบใส่หน้ากากเวลาคุยดังนั้นก็เลยเลือกที่จะใช้วิธีนี้ดีกว่านะฮะเป็นไงบ้างช่วงนี้ตรวจ ATK ทุกวันเลยหรือเปล่าครับจมูกพรุนหรือยัง
เช้าเย็นเลยค่ะช่วงนี้
เช้าเย็นเลยเหรอถึงขนาดต้องเช้าเย็นกันเลยเหรอ
ใช่ค่ะเพราะว่าไม่อยากประมาทแล้วก็เชื่อว่าแบบไม่อยากให้ใครเสี่ยงอะค่ะก็เลยก่อนไปทำงานเช็คดีกว่าจะได้เทคแคร์ได้ง่ายๆใช่ค่ะ
ที่เริ่มต้นช่วงนี้เนี่ยด้วยภาษาไทยเพราะว่าอยากจะทดสอบภาษาไทยของแอนดูก่อนเพราะว่าคำถามเราอะพี่เข้าใจเลยคือถ้าเราคุยกันแบบสบายๆเชื่อว่าเราคุยกันเป็นภาษาไทยได้แน่ๆแต่ว่ามีหลายคำถามที่มันอาจจะต้องอธิบายด้วยความหมายที่ซับซ้อนแอนเลยขอไว้ว่าขอตอบเป็นภาษาอังกฤษใช่ไหมครับเพราะว่าน่าจะมีชุดคำให้เลือกใช้ได้มากกว่านะฮะ
yes.
ดังนั้นก็สำหรับคุณผู้ชมก็ต้องทนฟังภาษาอังกฤษสำเนียงแบบผมไปด้วยกันละกันนะฮะ ถ้าตรงไหนพี่พูดผิดแอนก็พยายามเข้าใจมันด้วยละกันนะครับจะพยายามทำหน้าที่นี้ให้ดีที่สุดโอเคไหมครับ
ได้เลยค่ะ
So we start with the first question. We are shooting this episode, I think it's about 1 month after the final round in Israel. During the past 1 month, what have you been? How your life changed?
My life has changed quite drastically as a result of Miss Universe and the whole experience. But I think within the last month, I've learnt a lot about, first of all, the impact that my campaign has had on people. And I'm also learning a lot of new things about the entertainment industry. So, you know, different personas you carry depending on what you do, how you present yourself, for example, in photos or when you present yourself in a talk show. So that's been really fun. It's been a learning experience.
I see. So could you tell me about your life routine this day? Like, what is your day-to-day, activities?
My day-to-day activity, I don't think it's that exciting, but I'll wake up, I'll have a coffee, have a nice almond latte, going to the gym, just trying to find a balance between work and my everyday life so I can sustainably continue to produce good work. So it's work, gym, home.
No, that's good. You still like find the balance between work and life, so you're still good.
Thank you.
Most of our guests in Parted Talk are from the music industry, so I need to ask you about your musical life. Like, do you play any instrument? What is your favorite artist?
I played the piano when I was younger, but just like everything, when you don't practice it, you tend to forget. So, and I was actually really good at the violin.
Oh, really?
The violin, yeah, but didn't practice, so I can't play it anymore. But in terms of music, I am actually a really big music listener. I feel like it can really change your mood. So you know how sometimes you want to just be sad and sit in your feelings? I feel like music can really bring that out of you. Or when you're happy, you try to switch your mood. So I do really love music. I like, have you heard of Khalid?
Oh, Khalid, yes, of course. Yeah, he's really good.
Yes. He's my favorite. I think he's shown a wide range of music types and genres at the same time.
Yes.
And there's always substance to what he's saying. So because I like to listen, I listen to the lyrics and I enjoy music that way.
Cool. Do you have any favorite Thai artists?
I haven't been exposed to the Thai music industry that much, but I have to admit, Pimiu Sapasit, he is probably my favorite. Yes.
Why Mew?
Well, I had the opportunity to work with him prior to doing Miss Universe, going to Israel, and I saw his work ethic and how his development from, performing music at the beginning of his music career to the progression now, which as someone who's a viewer, someone who listens to music, you can really appreciate the hard work and talent that goes into it. And it's not just something you wake up every day and you're just like, you're all of a sudden great at what you do. He shows a lot of hard work. So I'd have to say him.
Okay. For you, it's kind of you step into entertainment industry already, right? So is there any, record label approach you, invite you to maybe do some music with them or, release some single with them?
Not yet, but I'm open.
Are you open to that? Yeah.
I'm very open, but I might need someone to help me refresh my voice and practice first.
If you have to pick one song to sing in the karaoke, what song would it be?
ABBA. Probably ABBA. Dancing Queen.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so you can dance with that tune also, right?
Yeah, so you don't have to sing, right? You just dance.
Yeah, you just dance. Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to start, right? Okay. Unfortunately, we can't afford, the copyright of this song.
Of course.
Or else I might, let you sing just maybe one verse of Dancing Queen.
Well, I don't think there'll be a copyright problem because it will not be nothing like the real thing.
Okay. Would you like to try? No?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
How does it start again?
Maybe start with a hook,
Wait, how does it start? Feel the beat, watch that sing, dig in the dancing queen. I need to warm up my voice. You have to warm up your voice first, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's a thing.
Maybe you need to start with a dance first then, and then warm up your voice.
That's what I do.
Okay, let's go back to your childhood. What is your childhood like? Can you please give me the definition of the young Anchilee?
My childhood was warm. I really believe that I came from a very warm family. My parents, they taught me a lot as I went along, especially aspects of independence. And they gave me that liberty and that freedom to explore what I wanted to explore. And I think because of that, it's actually shaped me to who I am today. But young Anchilee was curious, a curious girl. Definitely athletic because I loved playing sports.
Yes.
And relatively free because of the encouragement to continuously learn. And I think that all kind of laid out to how I ended up staying curious, how I ended up being an athlete, and the warmth my family gave me.
Sure. So your dad is Australian and your mom is Thai. So what kind of environment you grew up in? Is it Australian environment or Thai environment in your house?
I definitely grew up with both.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing my parents always taught me growing up, especially because I am half Thai, half Australian, is to always pull good aspects from each of the cultures to build who you are. today. So there'll be times where, like the independence of the Australian culture, where you're very encouraged to be free and figure everything out for yourself. That was definitely a part of it. But aspects of respect, aspects of helping your community, and working together to build something great, that was the Thai culture, which I grew up with having both.
Do you have any conflict, between these two culture in your home? Like sometimes your dad and your mom may disagree on something, and where is you in those, disagreement?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think most of it stayed between my mom and my dad because they grew up from very different cultures in comparison to me, where I had a touch of both. But in terms of freedom, I think that was the biggest thing. My dad would always, let her learn for herself, let her figure it out. While my mom, naturally, as mothers do as well, but also as a Thai woman, you always tend to want to help people. So they always had that conflict on how much is too much and how little is too little.
Yeah. In one of your videos, you used to say, my values, my principles, my understanding really stem from Thai culture. Could you please explain this, verse?
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest values is respect. You can share your own opinions, and I think that's quite beautiful, having different opinions. But as long as you respect each other's opinions, I think is a really big value of mine. And that sense of respect in the Thai culture is so strong and so deep-rooted and innate to who we are that is fully from my Thai side. That sense of community, that understanding of teamwork and things we have to go together, because the Thai culture is such a collectivist culture. We're warm. We're a very warm culture. So that's really shaped me to understand the importance of teamwork. And when you accomplish something, like for example, accomplishing Miss Universe Thailand, I had a whole team behind me, pushing me. And that is that understanding, that appreciation that it takes a village, quite literally, to shape a person into this success story is not just me, it's everyone. So that's truly from the Thai culture.
Wow, that's cool. It's like you got the best from both worlds mixed in you, right?
I try
that's
to,
cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. The next question, I'm not sure it's happened to you or not, but in many Thai people mindset, mixed race kids may be treated differently from native Thai children, especially in Thai school, right? Did you face any of this issue? How does being a mixed race in Thai culture affect you?
I can't say that I've experienced it to the extent of a lot of other mixed race Thai children, simply because I did grow up at an international school, so being mixed race, being different was never something we looked at in a outcast light. But I did experience feeling a bit like an outcast when I left that school environment. For example, after school, or when I had activities that didn't revolve around my school. It's almost like you're Thai, but you're not Thai enough sometimes, or they get shocked that you can speak Thai or you have a specific understanding of Thai. But I think it was never in a light where it was negative, where, they were like, ooh, that's not a good thing, because again, that goes into the collectiveness of the Thai culture, where they push you to, it's okay to learn. They push you into wanting to learn more about the Thai culture. So I definitely did experience that, but to a very lesser degree. And even if I did experience it, it was in a way where it was like, it's okay, you'll get the hang of it, you'll learn. You might not understand this word, but you'll learn it.
That's good. And from your background, if someone looks at you and things that you have been raised in a family that provides maybe higher quality of life than too many kids in this country. And maybe someone will call you like elite. Sorry to say that, but I'm not, it's not me. So what's your thought towards this image?
I can't deny that I did come from a privileged background where my parents gave me a lot of things and a lot of ingredients that have shaped me into who I am today. But at the same time, I do believe in doing something about your privilege. So it led me to understand that I have this moral responsibility to give back to society and to do my part into impacting the society into a positive light, so we don't have these class segregations. We don't have, lower class, middle class, upper class, elites, or all these things. Because I think those of us who are privileged do have that responsibility to do something about all these segregations. And especially with capitalism, we do understand that it's a type of governing and political system that does work, that allows for innovations and development, and with that will always come inequality. But the question is, how do we tackle the inequity in the inequality? So yes, I do understand and acknowledge that I come from privilege, but with that, I do want everyone to know that I really am trying to do my part in giving back and trying to make a difference in a positive light, so those who were born into families that, don't have the same privilege as me, by no fault of their own, have the opportunity to pave their own pathway.
Cool. And your mom and dad work in a field related to coaching, training, and developing human resources, right? So could you tell us more about your mom and dad work? What are they doing in their work?
Absolutely. So my parents actually run two companies. One is called LHH and one is called Potentia, and they work hand in hand, but they're quite different. So LHH is about like outplacement programs and executive coaching. So always about pulling the potential out of people and helping them find their path. And Potentia is a psychological tool kind of company where they use psychological tools to help make workplaces more efficient. So like the Myers-Briggs personality type, MBTI. So it really allows for people to see what their strengths are, see what their weaknesses are, and how they can intertwine those to make their work more effective and more efficient. So it's about people. It's all about people.
Wow, interesting. And does their work affect the way you think, your attitude, or the way you are?
Yeah, to an extent, for sure. I think naturally with my dad working with, executive coaching, he really taught me leadership skills and the skills of talking confidently. But that was through more so watching him do it and watching that confidence. But the other side of their company, Potentia, where they talk about personality types and psychological assessments, it helped me figure out and understand that people are just simply different. We all have strengths and weaknesses that are so different. It allows you to open your heart to accept that, to celebrate it, which has definitely had an influence onto my campaign because it's all about diversity and differences.
Now I know why. That's why. So let's talk about your study in NIST, right? NIST, one of the best, international school in Thailand. So what is your favorite subject? What is your least favorite subject in school?
Oh, my favorite was psychology. So I did the International Baccalaureate program, the IB program, and I took higher level psychology. And that was hands down my favorite class because you learn so much and you really, it's just a touch into psychology, but you really understand why some people are the way they are, the influence you have on yourself, the influence other people have on you, and how who you are today is really shaped by our surroundings. So that was definitely my favorite. My least favorite was maths. I cannot do maths to save my life.
Okay. Until now, right?
Yeah, no, I can't. Maths, I will admit, I cannot do it.
After graduating from NIST, you decide to go to Australia and choose sociology for your bachelor's degree. So why sociology?
If I'm being honest, my parents had a massive influence on that at first.
Okay.
They wanted me to actually go into psychology because they were like, you are a people person, this is what you're good at. And I didn't really believe them at first, because all my friends were doing business administration, finance, law, they wanted to be doctors. And I'm this odd one out being like, oh, I want to go do psychology or sociology. But then they were like, but look at how you are. Look at how you interact with people. Look at what you believe in. It is you. It's a great pathway for you. And I opened my mind to it and tried it and didn't like psychology because of the biology in it. I was more interested in the social and people aspect. So I tried sociology and wow, they were right, and that was simply because I opened my mind to it and realized that this is the importance of trying things you might not be comfortable with and stepping out of the normal comfort zone that a lot of us tend to stick into. So I picked that and then understood that with our constant change in society, where our society is just developing at such a rapid rate, especially because COVID hit too, all these technological advancements just went on an exponential growth. But what about us people? We still need to be a society. We still need to be a community. We still need to get along. We need to understand each other. So it made me realize that this is such an important topic for us to know, for us to understand. And that was why I stuck to it and built a real love for all of this.
So what are some learnings you got from being there in classroom and living in Australia?
The students in the classroom were not afraid to express their opinions.
Okay.
That was a really big thing because, when you come from Thailand, especially where you raise your hand and you wait for the teacher to call on you, you have that, you're a bit more closed off because you don't want to share the wrong thing or you don't want to upset someone else. But in Australia, people just, whatever they thought, they'd say it. And sometimes people might be like, wait, but isn't that disrespectful? But you can look at it in a different light where you're like, it's a room full of, 20 plus different brains sharing different opinions. And your mind opens up, you think of things in a different aspect that you probably wouldn't have thought of before. So it was that extension of continuous curiosity that I really learned to have. And outside the classroom, I lived alone in Australia, in Sydney. So okay. I started living alone at the age of 18. And what I really learned during that time was how to take care of myself. That, there's only me who will feed myself, who will clean my room, who will remind myself I need to do this, this, and that. There's no one else there. So that independence, that ability to be able to do things on my own and not be afraid to do it was that experience of having to be independent. No choice but to be independent.
On Children's Day, on the past Children's Day, you posted a message to young children, and it's really nice. Celebrate yourself, who you are, and what you believe in. Stick to your values. Stick to who you are at your core. So why is this message is important in your point of view?
I really believe, and I think we all can see it, that our children right now, especially the ones growing up in a social media world, feel so much pressure and have so much influence on things that they cannot control. And I wasn't a teenager too long ago, you know, I was only a few years ago. And I remember feeling all these pressures to be a certain type of person, or I had to go to university, I had to get this type of grade, then I had to come back and work, and then I had to do this and I had to do that. And it was just, wait, what do I want to do? What do I believe in? What works best for me? And I think because I again was really lucky to have that liberty to figure it out for myself, I realized it all just came back to who I was as a person. And that belief that I had, that I have that more responsibility towards people, especially those of us growing up, really led me into this pathway of building this campaign that had to do with real size beauty. So it was a message that I thought was essential to our kids to, it's okay to be who you are. You know, in a world that's so different and so diverse, you have all these pressures to be these things you may not want to be. Break away from it if that's what you want to do, because at the end of the day you always come back to who you are at your core. You end up doing things because it's who you are, not because someone else has forced you to do it. And if that's the case, it doesn't last long. You know, you can only do it for so long before you want to do things that align with you.
So that brings us to the next question, and not that I agree with this question, but what if someone tells you that this message that you give to the children would only work for the fortunate ones? I mean, children who are still struggling with basic needs are far away from seeing the importance of this message, or maybe they don't have time to, you know, focus on this matter. So do you agree with this kind of mindset?
No, I don't. I understand where they're coming from 100%. But I think my message, it's not about segregation. It's not a message for certain groups of people. It's about that liberty to just simply be who you are. And those people who suffer from, you know, having the necessity of basic needs, I believe experience that pressure the most to do something and be something they're not, so that they can find their own pathway. But I am a strong believer that, you know, when you stick to who you are, these doors start to open up for you, and these opportunities you didn't think were possible, like me being Miss Universe Thailand, I didn't think it'd be possible, but when you stick to who you are, these opportunities and pathways open up. So I do believe that it is a message for everyone, and trust in who you are and what you're capable of.
Couldn't agree more. Yes.
Thank you.
And I hope most of the children who listen to this interview or has read your message could be, you know, more confidence in themselves. So for the first part of this interview, you talk a lot about being yourself, believe in who you are. But I work a lot with a teenager, and it's not easy for them, for many of them, to, you know, figure out who they are or what they want to do, or maybe what they are really believe in. So, do you have any advice for the young ones who will be listening to this interview, that how can they find those? How do you find your belief, yourself? How did you become the Anne you are today?
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think back now to when I was a teenager, I had no clue what I liked. I had no clue what I was going to do. And I want to assure them, first of all, that it's normal to feel like that. I think we all have had times where even as adults you're still unsure of what to do and what's going to happen. But stay open-minded, I think is a really big thing. Just try different things and you'll be surprised too with what you may like and what you may not like. What you think you like might be something that you end up being like, oh, I actually don't like this at all. And what you didn't want to try before because you may have been scared or you didn't think you'd like it may end up being something that you become really good at and turns into your passion. So stay open-minded and remind yourself it's normal. This is so normal. Everyone eventually figures it out. Just give yourself the chance to figure it out.
So that's the important thing. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's normal to not knowing what do you want to do, right? And then try different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any sign that give you more clue that this might be my things?
Fulfillment.
This question is I think many people want to know the answer because the important message that you send to many people during the contest is the real size beauty. Can you please tell me why you choose Miss Universe pageantry as the platform to advocate this message? Why this stage?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up watching a little bit of pageantry, especially Miss Universe, and I had this understanding that it's a very empowering stage. These women that I saw on the stage were not only beautiful, but they had their own opinions, they had their own mindset, and they were always there for a purpose. They always had a reason to why as they were on stage. And as something that I've always wanted to do on an empowering stage, I thought it had to be Miss Universe Thailand. It just had to, because I saw it as, again, empowering. It was beauty that, a lot of teenage girls look into, but more importantly, it was brains. The deciding factor is your brain, your thinking, your opinion. And that was what made it so special to me. So I picked that stage because it's, in my opinion, an empowering stage.
In your understanding, Miss Universe exists for what purpose? And to you, what is the meaning of Miss Universe?
A platform that inspires, empowers, and encourages not only women anymore, but I think men, women, transgender, non-binary, everyone. It is a platform for your voice to be louder and to make a positive, and I really emphasize on positive impact.
Okay, so this is your first pageantry, right? Your first one. Okay, so there were so many people who have experienced competing before because lots of contestants are contest in many other than Miss Universe. So what do you think is your selling point? What made you stand out and memorable compared with others?
I was unapologetically myself.
Okay.
I think that's what made me stand out. I wasn't afraid to break out of the norm and what we thought was accepted and normal. And I think I really did represent a new group of people, a new generation, a new type of mindset. And I really do believe that that's why I stood out.
Could you explain the feeling of the first day at the contest, the first step into that hall filled with many beautiful ladies? How was your feel that day?
Honestly, I was like, what am I doing? That was really it.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that this is what I put myself into, this position to not be in the spotlight, but to open yourself up to criticism. It's like you purposely just said, come at me. Like, you want to say bad things about me? Just do it. And I thought, why would I want to do that? Because I am a happy, very relaxed, chill girl outside of all this. So why? I kept asking myself why I was doing this.
And for the whole process, after the whole contest, what was the most challenging moment and what was the most enjoyable moment for you?
Challenging? I'm human at the end of the day, right? And when you're in a position where, and I'm sure you understand that too, where a lot of people are listening to you and want to know what you have to say, there's always going to be negative messages. And they tend to be small, but they also tend to be louder. And it was coping with that at the same time as really trying my best to fulfill this goal of Miss Universe. And it was finding that balance between what was constructive and what was damaging to me, what I was letting in and what I was pushing back out. And enjoying, it would be how close I got to the team. How close I got to people and that impact you had not just on people that watched you, but people that were next to you. Having a positive impact on them because I stayed true to who I am. That was indescribable. That was really a fun experience.
Yeah. So I'm not like the true fans of Miss Universe. I watch many times. I support many ladies who've been there, but there are some part of the contest that I still confused. So please explain to me and to the audience about the black room. What is the black room? I've heard that it's the hardest part in the contest, right? And you decide to use your right to mute your answer. I just what you can do that and what since the contest has passed, so could you tell us about the experience during that time? What answer that you has mute? Can you share us those experience now?
So I chose to, of course, turn off the microphone for that.
Okay.
And I was actually debating whether or not to talk about it, like not turn off the microphone or to keep it closed. But it's an experience that I'm not ready to fully share to everyone yet. But I know that it was because there's other parties involved. It can cause damage to someone else. And it's an experience that I went through that really shaped who I am today. And it had to do with, hitting rock bottom. And unfortunately, a lot of women experience. So I want to share that story one day when it doesn't affect someone else's life. Yeah, when it can't make a negative impact on someone else's life.
I truly understand. So the black room is like one part of the contest, right? They ask the hard question or what is black room? So
black room is like the back room interview. It's where they strip you to you. You're not a pretty face anymore. You're not walking on the stage as a beautiful, beautiful girl, but it's who you are inside. And they want to simply get to know you. and why you are the way you are today. And it's a very difficult room to be in because you don't have a choice but to be vulnerable, but to really just open who you are out for these people. Because you do want them to know who you are and
Yes.
what you believe in.
Yes.
But again, it's with a bunch of people you don't necessarily know. So it's a really difficult psychological kind of room to be in.
Yes. It's like you being naked in front of the strangers,
Yeah,
right? Something
yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not people judging your physical aspects, it's judging who you are inside. So it was scary in the sense where what if they don't like who I am? I can't change that. It's just me. And that was the hardest part about being in that room.
Okay. And then you reached the point that you need to turn off the microphone.
Yeah, I really, the story that I have, it's something I know I should share, but I also know the importance of doing it when you're ready. Doing it when the impact on someone else's life
I see.
is not your fault. And that I goes into the sense of respect that I have despite the negative experience.
So that's okay. I truly understand, and we will wait until that time comes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And then you got the title Miss Universe Thailand, and you crowned, right? มงลง. So what made you feel delighted about this opportunity?
What made me feel delighted about this opportunity? I can't pinpoint one thing, It was everything.
I see. Yeah.
It was the why. I think it
Okay.
always goes back to the why I did it. And as someone who I was just a girl trying to make an impact
Okay.
for the better. And that and winning was I did it. And I knew that with my message, true change would only come if I won. Because that means I stepped over that beauty standard. I've broken that barrier. And when I won, it was we did it. A country that has these certain perceptions of beauty, me alongside the team, we broke it, and that made me grateful, even more grateful for this opportunity, because the impact was made, and now I have the ability to continue to make it stronger.
That's a moment that everyone will remember from all of the beauty pageant contest. Is the moment that the final two who wait for the MC to announce who will be Miss whatever. So at that moment on the Miss Universe Thailand stage, what has come to your mind during you holding hand with the other finalists? Do you think that how can how could I express if the name is me or if the name is her or whatever? What has come to your mind at that time?
At first, I was like, oh my God, it's me and Tarina.
Okay.
Because I remember saying she was the one I wanted to hold hands with when I first did, when I first was doing interviews before Miss Universe Thailand. And then I thought, oh my God, I am so proud of Tarina and I'm so grateful I met her. And then I thought, and don't breathe too hard because the audience can see that you're nervous. So just sati, sati.
Yes.
Don't make it too obvious that you're nervous.
Okay.
And then when my name was called, everything was like, huh? What? Did I hear that right? It was a blur.
I see. So what come after that is more like a reflect from that the situation, right? Everything.
Yeah.
The cry, the everything.
Yeah, the crying was I don't know why I cried, if that
Okay.
makes sense. It was one of those feelings where you can't explain what you were feeling at that point in time. It was almost like, is this a dream? Wait, it's not a dream. And then you're constantly in your head where you're like, okay, I'm dreaming, wake me up. Oh my God, I'm not dreaming, my life is about to change. And then I saw my parents. And that moment I remember very well because I just wanted to hug you. That's all I wanted to do. And that was the only emotion I remember that was not a blur from that night.
How about the crowd? Because many times on the stage, the one who put the crown on Miss Universe or Miss Universe Thailand, sometimes they put it in the wrong place, or maybe with the hair style, it's not easy to put the crown on. So what happened with your crown at that time?
So Pida, she's shorter than me. Like she's a lot shorter than me, right? Especially when I
Okay.
have really high heels on.
Yeah.
So I just remember kneeling down and being like, am I kneeling low enough? Like, can she reach? But she was very focused on making it straight and
Okay.
it's staying on, which I have to really ขอบคุณมากค่ะ because that I couldn't have catched it on time if it fell. But I was also lucky with my hairstyle because I had a bun that it
Okay.
locked the crown right here. So it stayed instead of sliding down. Or was it
Okay.
under? It locked my crown. That was basically
Okay.
it. So we were very lucky for the hairstyle. We want to call it the song lap mong because it
ส่งรับมง
stayed. It just made it. It didn't make it move. So Pida and the hairstyle was something I couldn't have imagined. Actually helped me not make the crown fall down.
Cool. And this year, now it is your duty to put the crown on the new Miss Universe Thailand. So, are you prepared for doing that?
It's a bittersweet feeling, having to move on to the next thing. But I actually remember when I asked Amanda what you just asked me when I think 2 days before the finals was, how does she feel? And she was like, I was sad at first, but I'm realistic at the same time. And I didn't know it at the time, but right now that is probably the best advice that I had received about having to crown the next Miss Universe Thailand. But I'm really excited for whoever it may be because it's not only life-changing, but if you go in with the right reason, it will be very fulfilling.
Okay. So the next part is in Thai we call, especially in this program we call คำถามนี้ไม่ถามไม่ได้นะครับ is the questions are about the real size beauty. There's a lot of question around this, campaign, a really good campaign that you advocate. So first, some people think real size beauty is not the right campaign in pageantry. So instead of advocating this idea in this industry, being bullied and still judged to win the crown, why not advocating for no beauty pageant at all? Because beauty is subjective anyways and cannot be judged. So what do you think about this opinion? ขอบคุณคุณผู้ชมทุกท่านสำหรับการติดตามรายการป๋าเต็ดทอล์กนะครับและถ้าชอบเนื้อหารายการของเราคุณสามารถกดไลค์ใน Facebook นะครับกด See First เพื่อที่จะได้มั่นใจว่าจะได้เห็นตอนใหม่ก่อนใครนะครับ Subscribe ใน YouTube Channel ของเรากดกระดิ่งเพื่อที่จะได้เตือนเมื่อมีตอนใหม่ๆตอนพิเศษออกมานะครับแต่ถ้าชอบเสื้อป๋าเต็ดทอล์กสามารถสั่งซื้อได้ใน Facebook Fanpage หรือถ้าชอบตอนเก่าๆที่อาจจะพลาดไปนะครับไม่ได้ชมได้ยินเพื่อนเล่าให้ฟังว่าโอ้โหตอนนี้สนุกมากคลิกเข้าไปดูได้หรือตอนนี้ที่สนุกเช่นกันก็ดูได้อีกเหมือนกันขอบคุณสำหรับการติดตามและเจอกันใหม่ในตอนต่อไปครับ